Welcome our Revolution NOLA membership. My name is David Alvarez, here, member of the steering committee. We have interviewed the 4 candidates for the House Representatives District 93 open seat that's coming up for election on March the 24th. Please listen to the answers and decide whom best represents your best interests and whom may be our voice in the state House of Representatives to help open the door for progressive policies and lawmaking that's going to help and improve our quality of life. Once again, listen to the questions, make that vote. Thank you very much. All right, welcome, Eldon Emerson here. Welcome, and thanks for joining us in our candidate interviews for the District 93 race. We are going to get started with asking a question about our ballot initiatives here in Louisiana. Would you be willing to support or introduce or champion a constitutional amendment to allow or expand petition-motivated ballot initiatives? And by that we mean that in the state of Louisiana, the public cannot place anything on the ballot directly. There's no public referendum or ballot initiatives. Anything that's on the ballot that we vote for, our legislature puts that for us. We don't have the opportunity to add anything to the ballot. So would you be willing to support or allow petition-motivated ballot initiatives?
When you say they won't be able to add anything for us, because when you're saying, because it sounds like if it's written out and it's maybe worded wrong, are you able to come back and edit it, is what you're asking, or?
No, like, say when you go to vote on election day,
Yes.
and there's a referendum to vote on, amendments to the Constitution, whatnot. There is no mechanism in the state of Louisiana for thousands of Louisianians to request to have something placed on that list for people to vote on. In other states, if, like, for example, legalization of marijuana was a public referendum where many people signed petitions, and then it was added to the ballot so the public could vote. But in Louisiana, we can sign 1 million petitions and we won't add anything to the ballot because we don't have that opportunity in this state.
Oh, yes, I'm definitely supportive of adding things to the ballot.
Okay. So let's talk about local policies. Policies which are overwhelmingly popular here in New Orleans for New Orleans residents, for example, raising the minimum wage, affordable housing mandates, are often attacked through preemption by the state legislature. What would be your approach for us returning the power to the people and to reducing the state's ability to preempt local government?
Well, actually, one of the reasons I kind of got into this race because I kind of feel like the people who's on the bottom of the barrel or ignored. So I actually want to produce legislation to where it comes back to the people of New Orleans instead of them being left out of the whole circle.
Okay, all right. Let's talk about criminal justice. Cash bail in which the accused must offer money as surety for appearance at trial effectively means that the plurality of people living paycheck to paycheck accused of even a minor crime will be incarcerated for unacceptable periods of time regardless of guilt. Pre-trial periods of incarceration of 1 year or are not unheard of. CNN reported that 34% of Americans effectively have no savings and a further 35% having less than $1,000 in their savings account. Would you support or further, would you champion a bill to end cash bail for minor offenses?
Yes, I think I will.
Okay.
Yeah, I will.
The movement to end cash bail as financing courts through fees has recently gained momentum. And there's a district attorney in Philadelphia that banned cash bail for many charges, including possession of marijuana, retail theft, and others. Would you be willing to support the removal of cash bail for small minor offenses?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Do you support the decriminalization or legalization beyond of recreational cannabis?
I support it, but I think we need to educate more of our youths uh, on it more, because now our youths are just thinking that once they legalize it, they're just as open and freely to where they can smoke. And once they legalize it, they're going to think that they can just smoke anywhere. And I know you might have been in many places to where you smell marijuana, because they really think once they legalize it that they will be able to just do that, which it's not the truth. And I don't think the education side of it has actually been put out there enough. And I don't know if it's something to um, penalize parents like myself if my child or other kids decide they want to smoke and think it's legal, and then I'll be penalized in court again on one of those offenses, to where it's going to squeeze me tight to where I don't have a savings, I don't have these different things. So I'm in support of it, as long as the education mechanism is in place for it.
Okay. Assuming that marijuana was legalized, what steps would you take to mend the damage done to the community by the war on drugs and the reality that there are many of our community members who have criminal records due to marijuana possession alone or marijuana related offenses? They may have done time, or they may actually be incarcerated. What would you do as a legislature to address that, if that were to come?
Back to the piece, like I told you, education side of it. I remember coming up in school when I was a school-age kid, to where we had an officer called Officer Friendly, to where the police officer was coming and educating us on certain things about the law, what's this, what's that, what you can and what you cannot do. So I think we need to implement those things back into the school system, so where those people won't be penalized, or they'll know the law around the whole marijuana thing.
Okay. Would you support a program of reparations for individuals who've been convicted just simply on possession of marijuana after marijuana were to be legalized?
Yes, definitely.
Okay. What? Okay, so let's ask a question about the Sewage and Water Board. Was it a mistake to remove the city council from oversight of the Sewage and Water Board?
It was a huge mistake. It's a huge, huge mistake.
Okay, what would be a more accountable structure for the Sewage and Water Board from your perspective?
When one, we have to, like I say, put it back in their hands, and also make it more of public notice, of getting public in there when they're voting on these decisions, and actually bringing Sewage and Water Board back to the podium to actually explain, what's going on, what's happening. So we need the public involved more to hold the council accountable, so the council can hold the Sewage and Water Board accountable.
Okay. A follow-up about that accountability, there's also a lot of jobs available in the Sewage and Water Board. How would you, as a legislature, help in getting those jobs filled in Louisiana and New Orleans?
In New Orleans, well, actually, it's a lot of people out here that are jobless, and I find it, completely amazing. One, do more job fairs in the district to offer, the opportunity for them to come in and to apply, and maybe connect people of the district to those jobs, so where they can be successful.
Okay. Let's talk about education a little bit and health. So Louisiana has exceptionally high rates of sexually transmitted infections, being ranked second in the nation for those surveyed by a 2016 CDC report. We also have very poor laws regarding child health. For example, the legislature has a law to where we are not allowed to ask our children questions about their sexual behavior in formal surveys at schools. What would you do to address the public health crisis that are currently facing our women and children in the state of Louisiana?
Again, we have to go back to education again, even though the laws are on the books. But we need to go in and put the laws back on the books that allows these kind of conversations into the schools again. Because like I said, I recall coming up in school to where these things was put in front of us and warned us about the seriousness of it. You know how transient sexual tremendous diseases are spreaded, but as long as we're not educated and it's not on the table, you know, we can't address them.
Would you champion removing the laws that make it difficult or stop our Department of Health and Hospitals from asking questions about our children's sex lives?
We when you say championing laws, meaning supporting the one that's on the books, or going and appealing what's on the book and try to rewrite new laws too, maybe
This would be
we can have a conversation.
These would be appealing the current statutes that do not allow for our offices of behavioral health or mental health to ask questions of our children.
I'm actually in support of appealing them to go in, because those conversations need to be had. If not, we'll continue on being number one all over the world with these things.
Yeah. Due to multiple factors, including disparities in prenatal care, in Louisiana, black women are 1.8 times to 3.4 times more likely to die of a pregnancy-associated or pregnancy-related cause than white women. What can be done to improve maternal health and patient outcomes for women of color in Louisiana?
When you say, what's the percentage again?
Well, 1.8 to 3.4 times more likely for a black female to have pregnancy-related problems versus a white woman. So what we're asking is, what can we do in the legislature to close that gap, to make sure that there aren't disparities within our population?
I guess, like I said, I always go back to education.
Okay.
Educating and find out, you know, the reason what's going on and how to identify the problem to fix it.
Okay. I mean, it could be accessing care. It could
Access,
be
correct.
Yeah. So
And connecting. No, you're connecting them to the right resources.
Okay. Let's talk a little bit about our environment. Seeing that job growth in solar is outpacing oil and coal and is now the fastest growth industry worldwide in the United States, what will you do to help us reclaim the title of #1 solar city in the country, like we were in 2015 when we had Louisiana Solar State credits? How will you make solar panels more accessible and affordable, not just to people in our district, but for the entire state of Louisiana?
Well, actually, one of those things that there, I have to go in and find out, you know, what happened and why we're not that leading person again. I mean, the leading state or the leading city again, and find out and try to repair what worked the first time and fix it back to what it was.
We had tax credits that were being utilized by a lot of people, but those tax credits are no longer. So that was one mechanism. There was others, but there's been a series of policy shifts to where it makes it, you know, not less advantageous to have solar as it used to be.
Okay.
So it's a harsh reality, but oil and gas companies hold a lot of influence over politicians in the state of Louisiana. How will you fight to hold oil companies accountable and protect our vulnerable coastline?
Just going in, like I say, doing the research, trying to figure out. And one, I need to find out why they have that kind of power and why they're holding so much over, and going and identifying, you know, what's going on in repairing, again, whatever it is that we can do to bridge the gap to make sure that it's an equal playing field for everyone.
Currently, the oil and gas industry in the state of Louisiana receives a lot of assistance in the form of subsidy and exemptions and loopholes with our taxes. How would you, as a legislature, address that?
Well, like I said, again, which the corporations who are actually holding these big tax breaks that, you know, we're suffering right now from $1 billion deficit. So going in, like I said, and we need to actually try to cut some of those things off or renegotiating on the percentage that they're actually getting from the state, or the taxes that they're getting, actually trying to figure out how to reduce those taxes so we can actually make the state prosper.
Okay. This will be a yes/no question. right now there's a movement to amend the Constitution and to use what is called the Article 5 of the Constitution to convene a convention where 2/3 of the states would have to make a decision on creating an amendment, and then 3/4 of the state would have to ratify that amendment. But the majority of the amendments to the Constitution have been started with these types of calls by state legislatures, as Congress tends to act when a critical mass of states make the call for action. So in the past, when state legislatures sign to commit to joining in a constitutional convention to address a national problem, the Congress has preempted them by convening a convention themselves in the past to address whatever problem the states are talking about. So do you support, yes or no, or would you champion a state resolution to formally call for a limited amendment convention under Article 5 of the Constitution with the express purpose to limit the corrupting influence of money in our elections?
Well, I tell you this.
Yes.
We don't. I know it's a yes or no question, but I'll have to say this.
Go ahead.
Because I'm not a person who's actually been, I want to say, groomed to been put into a race or been doing whatever it is to be in a race. I'm standalone. I'm independent by myself, and I'm on. So with that thing, I definitely will go and champion it to limit what goes on with that kind of stuff, because that's choosing politics over people. So I'm definitely going in to try to abolish it, or to write some new laws to where things are limited.
Okay. Let's talk a little bit about our prison system. The use of prisoners for labor is exceptionally pronounced in the South, which has echoes of a plantation system and slavery. What policies do you support, or would you support, that would ban or otherwise curtail prison labor in the state of Louisiana?
That's kicks, because when you go back to those like jobs right now, and now when I see like these prison reform systems that they're allowing people, and I'm totally for the second chances, but where people are getting out and I see people who are not convicted or who have clean backgrounds that can't find employment, but prisons can come out and connect it to a job, so forth and so on. So with that, I don't know about limited programs in that system, because look like it is a slave system to where they're teaching them whatever they're doing for like 2 cents a day, 50 cents a day, whatever, how much they make. But when they hit the streets again, they're ready, because they go from 50 cents to 2 cents a day to maybe $10, $12 an hour. So I'll probably write some kind of legislation to try to figure out how to get a grip on and a control of how they're doing the labor thing to I guess stop brainwashing people to be enslaved.
Well, let me ask you a follow-up then, and alternatively, would you support paying all prisoners who are working while they're incarcerated a minimum wage?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Great. Gun control. Or actually, a minimum wage. Do you support setting a minimum wage in the state of Louisiana?
When you say set it, because we up and down and back. Yes.
Okay. Because technically we don't even have one.
We don't have one. That's what I'm saying. So set it.
All right. Gun control. What level of gun control do you support?
When you say gun control, because the shooting in Florida has just been a hot button topic, just all over the place. And the crazy thing, I'm not in support of personal firearms to protect yourself and your family. Yeah, I'm completely with that. But, for assault rifles and these big AK-47, 223s and those kind of things, I don't think that's something that no one have unless they should have unless they, maybe hunters or somebody who go out in the wild, but, not something to where a kid or somebody just can have access to. I'm completely against guns totally. And like I said, by Florida being a hot topic with this mass shooting in Florida, I just had to deal with the school system last year where there was guns in when I was high school. So, we just don't know when it's going to happen. So.
Well, statistically, it's largely male phenomenon. These mass gun shooters, these mass terrorists, if you will, and the strongest correlation for mass violence with guns is a history of intimate partner abuse. So, do you support banning people with domestic abuse convictions from gun ownership? Yes or no?
No, I'll say yes. I'll say yes.
Okay. And if so, how long would that ban? Would it be a lifetime ban, or would that be?
Well, like I said, I believe in second chances, so I think I'll probably ban it for a while. Okay. And have to see, bring that person in front, maybe I want to say a board or somebody to make sure that they're actually in the right mindset to actually, own a gun.
Okay. All right. Well, Eldon, thank you so much for answering our questions. I'll give you the opportunity to make closing remarks and talk to the membership.
Okay. Well, I'm Eldon Anderson, number 3 on the ballot, running for state rep, District 93. And as a young kid, I was connected to opportunities at the age of 13 years of age. And I want to make sure that the kids of this city are connected to the same opportunities that I was awarded at a young age. And I want to be the young generation to inspire youths of this city to be successful. Like I said, again, I'm Eldon Anderson, number 3 on the ballot. Thanks for having me.
All right. Thanks so much.
Thank you, buddy.